Okay, so before we get into the whole discussion and me talking about my whole childhood and where it started, I just want to start off with these few words. Okay, so as we know, grief is not pretty. It's not something that you can wish onto your worst enemy. Grief is painful and mentally exhausting to deal with. Grief is something that most people lose themselves in, and it's something that is hard to move past from. Yes, it's true. Grief doesn't get better. We just get distracted from the fact that it's there until it becomes a minor thought in the back of our heads. People grieve in many different ways, especially in ways that are unexplainable to others. The loss of anyone in our lives is still loss. So everyone goes through it, and some more than others. Grief is unexpected and unexplainable. When it comes to grief, some people will have the patience to deal with you until you get over your grieving, and some people get tired. So that's okay. Grief is not easy. It's not something that someone would wish to go through. It's not something you'd want to go through. It's something that is forced upon people, unfortunately. So with that being said, feel free to express your thoughts and any comments in my comment section. Feel free to private message me, DM me with any thoughts or comments expressing your thoughts. So yeah, let's get into the video now.
Anytime you want, baby girl, just come. Where you wanna go? No, they do, they will never know. Think I look better, we can fly, bro. Let me watch a tire.
Okay, so where does it start? How did everything come to be what it is? Welcome to you. I got some steam on my glasses, but okay. So I wasn't born and raised in Portlaoise, but I was pretty much raised in Portlaoise until I moved out of Portlaoise to Sligo for secondary school, basically. So, you know, my mom was very much in good health the entire time that we're in Portlaoise. Like, I've been in Portlaoise ever since I was born. Even though I wasn't born in Portlaoise, I was raised there, okay, ever since I was a kid. So, like, how did the whole thing start with my mom getting sick and everything like that? Well, you know, it's so hard to, when I think back about it, it's so hard to pinpoint the dates and how did this happen, how did that happen, how did we even come to being in this situation, because like I was so young, so it's not like I was keeping dates in my head. So when I think about it, I'm like, did I just put these memories so far behind my mind that I eventually like forgot about it, or it's just hard to even remember? I have no clue. So when it comes down to specifics and dates and stuff like that, like I'm not gonna really try to include the dates much, but I will include some dates here and there so that you know like what time frame that we're talking about, basically. Okay, so from what I can remember, like my mom had invited friends over to our house one day, and I don't know, that night she was feeling sick. So the next morning my aunt and her went to the GP, and when my aunt came back, like she was like, they're gonna keep your mom for like a few days. Within these few days they had to put my mom in a coma, and it just went from there. That's really how it starts. She was in a coma from that point onwards. We were like just in shock, to be honest. I feel like everyone was in shock when my mom first went into a coma, because one, we didn't expect it to happen, and two, how do you go from just being sick to getting into a coma? Like, that means it had to be really bad, especially because it just started, like the way she was feeling, it was kind of like it just happened, basically, because she was feeling sick today. Tomorrow she's in GP. They're gonna keep her for a few days, and then she's in a coma. Okay, so imagine hearing all of this as like a 9-10-year-old kid. You're like, what the fuck is a coma? What's going on right now? Like, I think we actually visited my mom once. I don't know, I think that was after she had been woken up from her coma, actually. So that was like, I don't even know how long that was down the line. It could have been like a month or a couple of weeks down the line, to be fair. When I say like I can't remember specifics, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like I can't really tell you how long my mom was in a coma for the first time she went into a coma, but yeah. So my mom has 4 kids. She has 4 kids, 3 of which are here in Ireland, born and bred in Ireland, and my eldest sister has always lived in South Africa. She's never been to Ireland. She's always been in South Africa. She was raised by my grandmother, and that's just how it's been. Don't ask me why, I don't know. Okay, that's just how it's been. So from that point onwards, from when my mom was in a coma, we visited her after she woke from her coma, and I think she came home actually. Either she came home or she remained in hospital, but I know that she was still sick with what she had. So my mom was diagnosed with pneumonia. So from what I can understand about pneumonia can be dormant for many years before you actually start experiencing the symptoms of pneumonia, which is crazy. So hers was chronic, okay? So like it didn't leave. Ever since she was diagnosed with pneumonia, it was just always there. She was always getting sick with the same thing over and over again, and that just made her immune system weak. It made her lungs weak. And if you know anything about pneumonia is about like fluid in your lungs. So you know, anything that's with the respiratory system, it weakens your respiratory system because it is an infection. Okay, so we were left with our aunt. Basically, she basically cared for us from the point that our mom was sick that time. Was it the best type of care? In my opinion, no, it wasn't the best type of care. All I can say looking back now as an adult is that she tried. Was it her best? I really don't know, but from what I can take from the situation is that she tried. You know, like that's really all I can say. I'm not really in contact with her anymore. My own reasons. I don't want to be in contact. That's that. Move on. Cool. So she was like, we were left to her care. Yeah, so my mom had been in hospital for months now at this point. She had been in hospital for like a good few months. We were still going to school and everything, living with our aunt, because our aunt was actually living in our house at the time with her own kids. So I think just before my mom actually got better, she was actually getting better, and then they ended up putting us into foster care. That was our first foster home that we got put into. So we got put into foster care temporarily for about, it was 1 week actually, because after that 1 week my mom came home. That's why we went back home actually. So it was like too late by the time they put us in foster care anyways. We were staying with our aunt. The reason why they put us in foster care and took us away from our aunt was because she didn't have the legal right to actually take care of us. So if you know anything about foster care and all this, everything has to be legal. You know, nobody can just sit there and be like, okay, like I'm gonna mind your kids. She said it's okay, I can mind her kids. Like it has to be legal. You have to go through legal processes to become somebody's legal guardian, especially because the way it was looking at the time, like it was very hard to tell whether my mom was going to be coming home anytime soon, or if she was going to be in hospital, or if she was even going to be getting back to her full health like anytime soon. So push comes to shove, they put us into foster care, and yeah, we stayed there for 1 week. Our first foster home was like on this farm. It was a nice place. I can't even lie, the people were nice. They had like no kids. They had no kids, so we were like the only kids on this big ass farm, and it was just so different. Like it was so different to anything that I had experienced ever, because like who goes from living in a big, Polish is not even that big, it's a big town though in comparison to a lot of places, to living in a on a farm basically. So everything that have to do with foster care, like I won't lie, like I'm gonna go into detail about it in another video. It won't be in this video unfortunately, because this video is more just about the backstory, how I came to be in foster care in the first place. So I'm not going to talk about that. But if you have any questions or anything like that, leave them in the comments, and then I will answer them in the next video. So yeah. So then after that, my mom was okay. When she came back home, we went back home as well. She was fine for a while. I'm not sure how long. I can't tell you specifics how long my mom was okay for, but she came back home, she was okay, and then she got sick again. So then when she got sick again, we got put into our second foster home. So that is different to the first one. We just never saw them again. I don't know why. They must have got like kids afterwards or something, but we got put into our second foster home. So it was this lady, and basically like her whole family, because I can't lie, most of her kids lived at home, and her house was huge. Like, it's like a country house basically, like a house in the countryside basically, with like no neighbors and stuff, and it's just her house and everything. So the house was pretty big. It was a bungalow. So we got put into our second foster home for obvious reasons. My mom went back to hospital. My aunt didn't have the legal right to take care of us or be our legal guardian. You're probably asking, why didn't she go through the process of becoming our legal guardian? Because I feel like, from what I don't know her specific reason, for one, her specific reasoning for why she didn't go through it, and two, she was living in our house. She didn't have her own house. Three, when it comes to foster care and social workers, if you know anything, when it comes to people of color, we fear the legal, like anything legal, we fear, literally. Like, I don't think, if you're not up for it, like, you're not gonna want to become a foster care or like a legal guardian of somebody, because when you are becoming a legal guardian of kids or a child, like, they examine so many things. They examine your income, how, like, your housing situation, how well do you take care of your own kids. They evaluate like everything. So a lot of people don't want social workers and like foster care people in their business. I don't know, like, that's not something, like, it's not something that I can even like hold against you and be like, why didn't you take us into foster care? Because at the end of the day, I'm like, shit, that's understandable. At the end of the day, like, that's understandable, in my opinion. Like, if it was me, I would have gone through that process to become a legal guardian. But to be honest, that's just a topic for another day. Like, I'm not really stressed or pressed about that. It is what it is. We got put into foster care. So our second foster home or whatever, like, foster care, foster home, same thing to me at this point. So our second foster home, like, we were in and out of that home for like about 3 to 4 years, especially because like, our mom would get better and then she'd be home. So when she was better and she was home, they'd put us back with her, and then when she got sick again, they'd take us back and put us into foster care. So as you can see, it's like, we did have a home, but there was no stability, there was no like security there, because you never know. Like, if I'm gonna be sick next week, I'm not sure. Like, I might just come home and they're like, okay, you're going to foster care tonight. Like, that's really how it was. Like, yeah, it really was like that, to be honest. There really was no stability, there was no security in that type of sense, to be honest. So during this time, I won't lie, my mom got sicker, and she just got sicker and sicker, you know. Like, it wasn't, she was far from getting better at that point. Like, she was really at the beginning of like when she was sick. So it was pretty bad, you know. It went from bad to worse really fast, and before you know it, we were in foster care for like a while. Like, we were staying there for a good few months without going back home because our mom was sick. So yeah, I just had to take a sip of my tea. Sorry if you can hear noises in the background. I live in a shared house with other people who have their own stuff going on, so yeah. So between this time that our mom was like in and out of hospital, it got to the point where she was getting sicker. We were in foster care for longer. than we would have thought. So during this time, like, my mom got transferred from Portlaoise Hospital to St. James Hospital in Dublin because it was pretty bad. So from that time, from her being in Portlaoise and her being in St. James Hospital, like, she got put into about four comas in total. I'm not even gonna lie, about four, yeah, about 3 4 in total, since the entire time she was sick, because my mom was sick for a long time. Okay, that was just the start, how it started was when we were in Portlaoise. You know, seeing your own mom in hospital, like when we would go up to St. James Hospital, because when we're in foster care, they would arrange days for us to at least go up and see our mom. Even though she was in a coma, we would still go up and see her. Like, it's not something that's easy to see, especially when you're a child. It is very confusing to see your mom hooked up to all these machines, all these breathing machines, and you walk into the room, that's the first thing you see. Her hospital bed is like in the middle of the room, and it's quiet and it's eerie because everyone's really just quiet. Yeah, it's just quiet when you walk into the room. You hear these machines beeping, her breathing on the machines. It's just, words can't even describe seeing that, to be honest, as a child, as someone who's so young. Words can't explain it, to be honest. So we would just like stay with her, maybe, I don't know, for about 30 minutes to like an hour, just sitting there letting her know that we're here, you know, because there were times when she was away from her comas and stuff like that. Sometimes she would tell us that like she remembers hearing certain things, and I don't know what it's like to be in a coma. I can't sit here and tell you that, oh, this is how exactly it is, but from a person seeing someone else in a coma, like, it doesn't seem nice. It's not something that you want to see, but because we were going so often, like, I guess at a certain point it becomes like desensitized, it becomes normalized, like, you know. So eventually, I don't know when actually she had the surgery, but I know that we were still in the same foster care home, and she ended up having to have this surgery to remove one of her lungs. So after that my mom was living with just one lung. And you might be wondering, is it possible to live with one lung? Yes, it is very, very, very possible to live with one lung. Is it easy? No. Are you limited? Yes, you'd be limited to a lot of things. So after she had her surgery, you know, she was in hospital for a little while longer, and then she ended up coming back. She was good. She was okay. She was getting better from her surgery. She was breathing fine. Everything was okay. Was she still struggling here and there? Yes, she was. We moved out of foster care and placed into her care full time because she was now okay. And then around 2018, we ended up moving up to Sligo. Guy, when it came to moving to Sligo, like, I don't even know like how that decision happened. I don't know why my mom chose to move from Portlaoise all the way to Sligo. Like, what was the reason? Like, you could have just moved somewhere else, to be honest, but I don't know. She chose Sligo. We moved to Sligo. Well, it wasn't really Sligo, it was Sligo County, but it was Tubbercurry in particular. Like, it's a big change. Going from Portlaoise to a place like Tubbercurry is a big change for a child. Like, you can't move a child from the city center to a barren countryside and expect them to be happy. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. When I realized how small Tubbercurry was, how small Sligo was as a place, like, I didn't really like it. Especially because I left all my friends behind. We were supposed to be starting secondary school together. I finished in Portlaoise in 6th year of secondary school. So I finished all my, of primary school. So I finished all my primary school in Portlaoise. And then I ended up moving to Sligo, and that's where I started secondary school. So I started fresh from there. Like, it's just different. You're just with a bunch of kids who grew up in the countryside. Like, I don't know if this is normal for them, but it wasn't normal for me anyways. Like, I was just like, nah, like, I'm not with this country life. Like, I didn't like it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like it. I didn't like living in Sligo. I still don't like being, like, in my opinion, Sligo is like, it's just so quiet. It's like an old people's place. It's like, it's where you go to retire. That's all it reminds me of. It just reminds me of a place that you go to retire, to be honest. So after we moved to Sligo, she ended up having, she needed a, like, this big breathing machine. It's like basically like a huge nebulizer, basically. And a nebulizer is used to clear up fluids in your lung. So she had to use that about like a couple of hours a day. And that's how it was. Like, she was, besides that, she was pretty much okay. Okay, she was okay. So I think a year goes by, and I'm probably in second year at this point. Yeah, I'm probably in second year at this point, and the same thing happens again. Like, I just come back from school and I'm told that, hey, like, your mom is in hospital, and you know, you're just waiting for your mom to come back, and then she never does. That's really what it's like dealing with a parent that's sick. You just, at the same time, you're like, how do I know when I come back from school she's still gonna be there? Like, it's not gonna be another something. You're kind of just waiting for something to happen. As sad as that sounds, that's really how it is. Like, you're kind of just waiting for something to happen. So it happened again. Like, we came back from school, they're like, your mom is in hospital. So at this point, she was in the Sligo, the hospital in Sligo. I don't even know what it's called because I've never touched foot in that hospital, to be honest. Like, I don't think I ever got a chance to actually visit my mom in that hospital before she was moved to the university hospital in Galway. I don't know how much time had passed. Maybe like a week or two had passed. So she was transferred from Sligo hospital to the university hospital in Galway, which is like the main hospital, and that's pretty much where she remained until the time that she passed away. So as you can see, things, when every time my mom would get sick, things would move rapidly. Like, she'd be okay, and then it'd go from bad to worse really fast, like in a week or 2 weeks. So that's where she remained. So I'm not sure how long went by, but they ended up putting us into our third foster home in Sligo, which was out in Riverstown. So if it's like, oh my god, like, you have like Port Beach, and then you have Tipperary, and then you have Riverstown. It's like, it just gets smaller and smaller every time. The towns just get more barren and more barren, more secluded and everything. Like, these country towns, they're not for the weak, to be honest. So we end up getting put into our third foster home. So now that we're in our third foster home, I think it's about like, still 2018, kind of early 2019. They put a plan in place for us to get as much time with our mom as possible so that we can see her as much as we could, because we were in Sligo and she was in Galway, and they couldn't, you're probably wondering, they're like, couldn't we find like a foster home and stuff like that in Galway? Like, when it comes to foster homes, they're not something that's like there all the time. You can't find a foster home at every corner in Ireland. So getting a foster home that would take 3 kids in Galway was hard. Bottom line, we didn't find one. Actually, we didn't find one, but they did end up giving us like a temporary home. I don't know why they couldn't place us with her full term, but they ended up giving us like a temporary foster home that we'd go to in Galway. So the plan was, we got our fourth foster home. So this was like a lady with her own kids. This lady with her own kids living in her own home. The one in Sligo, actually, she was just her. It was just her, one lady that we were staying with. So that was that. So we got put into our fourth foster home, which was kind of temporary. So our fourth foster home worked hand in hand with our third, which was our kind of like our permanent, and then the fourth was like the temporary one in Galway. So we go to her every, like, if we had like holidays and midterms, we would go and stay with her in Galway, and then the rest of the school year, excluding weekends, because we would stay with her some weekends as well, we were with our third foster home in Sligo. So I hope that's not confusing. Okay, so to clarify, our third foster home was in Sligo and the fourth one was in Galway, and the fourth one was temporary, whereas the third one in Sligo was more of our permanent one. So they end up putting in place like this plan for us where like certain weekends we'd go down to Galway. Like we had a driver that would actually take us from Sligo to Galway and wait for us for a couple of hours while we spend time with our mom in hospital in Galway, and then that same driver would bring us back to Sligo. And that's how it was, really. That's how we did things. And then specific weekends we would leave school early on Friday and go and stay with the other foster home or foster care in Galway and come back on Sunday just in time for school, like in the evening on Sunday. So that's really how we were living for like a really long, like for the longest time. It wasn't even the longest time, it was like a year and a couple of months. So like with that being said, like I can't lie, like Tesla really tried to accommodate us in seeing our mom. Like I can't say that they didn't try, they actually did. They gave us a driver that will drive us down, pick us up from school, and take us to go and visit our mom, wait and bring us back. Like, and it was a lot. It was tiring, okay, doing that, like having to go from Monday to Thursday, you're in school for like the whole week, and early on a Friday you're leaving to go all the way to Galway to visit your mom who is in a hospital. Like, it was tiring, it was mentally exhausting, but we still did it. So like we were very busy, to be honest. Our weekends were very jam-packed and busy. When we were in Galway, we pretty much got like, that was where we got like our free time, I won't lie, besides the going up and down. Like that's why I'm pretty familiar with living in Galway. It's not like I lived in Galway, but I feel like I stayed there for quite a bit, you know. So yeah, how was that? Like, it was okay. It seemed like it was working. It was working, to be honest. We were still trying to get a foster home in Galway. This search never stopped. We kept looking and kept looking for foster home. Not as in like we kept on looking, but like our social workers kept working and looking for a home, which never came. So, you know, that was okay. Being in like that Galway hospital, like I won't even lie, like having a parent that's sick, like it really put me off hospitals as a whole. Like I don't like being in hospitals. I just, if there's no need to be there, why am I there in the first place? I just don't like hospitals, to be honest. They're just, I know some people stay in hospitals long term and they try not to paint it as like a bad place, and it's not a bad place because that's where a lot of people stay, and like in a way that's kind of their home since a lot of people live there like long term. But like hospitals are eerie, they're gloomy, and they're just, when you're a kid anyways, that's how it comes across to me. They're just so eerie and gloomy, and they're just like a place you go to when you hear bad news. So like the memories I have with hospitals and GPs, like even till this day, if I'm sick, I'll low-key wait until the last minute to go to the GP, because I'm just like, if it's not that bad, I'm not going. I'm not going anywhere, like at all. And that's like really bad, but like I don't like being in medical scenes, to be honest. I'm not even gonna lie, I really don't. So yeah, so the year 2019 comes, we're still living with the same routine, still doing the same things. Our mom she didn't get better. She was kind of just like the same way. just sick chronically with pneumonia. There'd be times where it was worse. More time it was okay. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't okay to the point where she could come home and be home like full term. So yeah, we're in the year 2019. I think I just finished my second year of secondary school. So we're in the summer of um we're in the summer of 2019 now. So like it's just a regular day. In fact, this was the day before my mom passed away. Like I was like I was the last person there actually, because I thought I was gonna be able to stay there, and then the nurses and doctors were like, you can't sleep here. But I thought it was okay. I don't know. I think my mom thought it was okay. So like it was fine. I ended up having to leave really late. So I was like the last person that seen her. I kissed her on her forehead before I left, and then I left. So when we came back the next day, like obviously I thought everything was gonna be okay. I thought everything was gonna be good, but it was just a different story. Like she wasn't how she always was, basically. So I'm not really gonna get into the details of what really went down, and all that, but let's just say that I was there when my mom passed away. I held her hand before she passed away, and I feel like that was the best way it could have happened. I don't think I wouldn't want to have not been there. I was glad that I was there, even though I was very young and it was very much traumatic. Like I was glad that I was there, and then I seen her, and we were with her in her last moments. So she passed away on the 1st of August in 2019. So this year marks the 6th year since she's been gone. So like how was it at first when my mom passed away? Like what happened, what went down basically? Like I can't even pinpoint exactly what happened, because you know when people sit there and they go, it just happened so fast. Like that's all I can say. That's literally all I can say. It just happened so fast. Like after she passed away, before you know, her funeral, and it's like that. But anyways, going back, it's just like when somebody first passes away, it's just nothing but silence. It's very quiet. It's a very quiet moment. People don't say much. They don't do too much besides grieve and just be quiet. That's how I was anyways. Like I was just, besides like crying in my alone time, like I was just very quiet. I think I was just like, you couldn't really tell what I was going through because I was just quiet. Like I didn't have much to say. I don't think there was much to be said, to be honest, besides dealing with the grief and the upcoming funeral plans that we had to plan. So yeah. Like by the way, from the time that we're in Port Liege to the time that we had moved to Sligo, like when we were in school, they would have like the chaplain service take us out for chats, and they would, I don't know if they're like school social workers or like I don't know what they are, or like what their job title is exactly, but these people anyway, like they would take you out for like conversations, and sometimes they would take you for food out of school just to like take your mind and just talk to you and just see how you were, basically just check up on you. They, like the school chaplain, worked hand in hand with like our social workers in terms of like providing us with support and stuff like that, checking up on us, taking us for one-on-one conversations. Sometimes we would go all together, like my siblings. So like they were always there, you know, to like provide help and support and stuff like that, to try and like distract us as well from like what's really going on. Because I don't know about my other siblings, but like when it came to me, I don't think I really struggled much. Like I'm always like happy and upbeat. Like I've always been happy and upbeat, and a person who just laughs a lot, to be honest. I'd be like, that's one thing you can say about me. Like I laugh a lot about everything. Like that's how I was. I don't think my personality really changed besides after my mom passed away. That's when I feel like I noticed a change in my personality as well. Like I wasn't laughing as much. I was definitely quieter than usual. Like I just became closed off. after my mom passed away. Like, I won't even lie, like, ever since she passed away, like, I just, not until now, but at that time, like, I was just quiet and closed off, and I didn't have much to say. I don't know what people wanted me to say, because when you're grieving and you're in pain, getting yourself to even talk is hard. Like, because there's nothing to be said, to be honest. Like, there's just, like, it's like, what do you want me to say? I'm not going to sit here and be like, my weekend was amazing. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm so happy, I'm so excited for the future. Like, I just lost one of the closest people to me, if not the only closest person to me, my mother at that. Like, a lot of people, that's why I say, when, like, grief is something that a lot of people, they lose themselves in. It's not something that you can just easily come back from. A lot of people, they go, like, their life goes left after they lose somebody, especially if it's somebody like their mother. That's not something that you can just easily pick yourself up from. It's just, it's like, it's destructive to a lot of people. Like, a lot of people lose their lives because of grief. Like, they lose themselves as people because of grief, you know. I'm just grateful that I made it up out of it. Like, I'm not saying that I don't grieve. I still grieve to this day. I still grieve for my mom. I still want my mom. I still need my mom, even though she's not there. But I'm glad that I still managed to pick myself up and keep going. Because, you know, some people, when they ask you, like, how did you manage to come this far, being through what you went through, like, besides the work that I put in myself, like, by the time I got put into foster care, and I'm talking about my experience, I was like 12, 13. Like, I was raised by my mom. Because the way my mom raised her kids, she raised her kids in a, like, a worst case scenario type of way. It's like, everything she taught us was, this is how you do things, because one day I'm not going to be here. That's how my mom always raised her kids. I feel like that's one thing that stands out between all of my siblings. Like, how do we keep going? How do we, even, like, in terms of maintaining our African culture, our black culture, because our mom raised us, like, she wasn't, like, gone. We weren't in foster care from the time we were born. She raised us and she taught us a lot of things, and the things that she taught us, even though at the time when she was teaching us, it didn't make sense, a lot of those things helped us keep going until now. And, like, they played a big part in us being how we are. When it comes to, like, my mom passing, I feel like there's just a lot of things that we didn't know, because it's like, how do you raise your kids in a way that's like, it's kind of like you already know what's going to happen, basically. Like, it's like you already know what's going to happen. You're just preparing them for, like, the worst case scenario. I feel like that's, for me personally, like, I cling on to a lot of the stuff that my mom taught me, like, because when I think back about it, I'm just like, sometimes you think that your parents are just talking out their neck. Like, they're just talking and you're like, what are you talking about? What are you ranting about today? But, like, being 20 years old now and looking back, you're just like, damn, like, I kind of needed that to be told to me then. Even though I didn't understand, it comes into play now. It helps me now. So, yeah. So, like, the funeral service, we didn't plan, like, obviously we're kids, we're in no place to be planning the funeral service, but we did have our say here and there of what we wanted to say and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, that process for me was just like, everything it just felt like it passed me by, to be honest. Like, it just felt like it passed me by until the day of her funeral, and her funeral service was lovely. Like, I don't think I could have asked for it to be any better. I don't think funerals need to be huge, like where they have like 100 guests. Like, I'm glad that it was the way that it was, and I'm happy with the way that she was sent off and how everything was handled. I'm grateful for the people that were there and that are still here. very grateful for the people who helped in terms of financial stuff. We were sorted and organized. That was not like a worry at all. So I'm just grateful for how things ended and how things went in terms of the whole funeral. Like, I don't, hey, if I was left to plan a funeral now, I would still be confused. I don't know where to start. I don't know how to finish. Like, I don't know how to do anything funeral related, because we didn't have to do that much, to be honest. And it's like, it's not something you would ever see yourself having to plan. So yeah, from that point onwards, we became like, we were put in the care of the state legally. So after that, like months later, after our mom passed away, and like obviously we're dealing with the whole thing, we managed to get an official court order from a judge to remain in our third foster home, which was the one in Sligo. So that's where I basically remained until the time that I moved out. So that being said, that's really the whole backstory of how everything went down, how everything happened. Like, there's really not much to it besides the fact that my mom was sick, and she was sick for a long time. We were in and out of foster care. We would visit her whenever we could. Even the times that she was in a coma, we were there. When she was awake and she was good, in good health, we were there. Was it easy? No, it wasn't easy. Like, I remember one time actually they told, I don't know how it went down, but like, I think it was like years after my mom passed away, not years after, but a while after my mom passed away, and they tried to get us to go into play therapy, and I was like, no, I'm not going nowhere. And they were like, you're traumatized. And I think I actually laughed in the lady's face, like the social worker that told me, and I was like, I'm not traumatized. Like, I'm good, I'm chilling. But like, looking back, I'm just like, damn, like, I'm so hard-headed, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was just so closed up. I didn't want help from nobody after my mom passed away. And I'm gonna get into further details about like the whole grief and everything like that in another video. I'm not really, like I said, this video is not really about like the foster care and the grief and like any specifics. It's really just about the backstory about how it happened. And here I am now, 20 years old, going into my third year of uni, and I feel like next year, since it is August next month, like, it's gonna be her 6th year anniversary from the time that she passed away. Next year, I'm gonna be 21, and I just feel like I'm entering into a new era of my life. Am I fully healed? Like, I wouldn't say that I'm fully healed. I don't think anyone fully heals from grief. I think everyone still grieves. Like, grief is always gonna be there. Like, everyone still grieves. Like, if you have lost somebody, you're still gonna grieve. There's gonna be days where you're happy, and then that same day in the evening you're gonna be sad, super sad. You're not gonna know where is the sadness coming from. Why did my emotions just change all of a sudden? Like, what happened? But you're gonna be sad. Like, so grief is always there, but I just know that I'm stepping into a new era where I'm just, the way I looked at things back when I was in foster care, when my mom was sick, from the time that it began until like a couple of years ago, maybe 1 or 2 years ago, like, there just was, I was hopeless. Like, I really was hopeless. Like, I really thought that this is it. This is where my storyline ends. I'm gonna become like a bad kid, and like, I'm just gonna become one of those people that just like F life, and they don't do anything with themselves. Like, that's how I felt. Like, there was just no hope. I felt like the one thing that gave me hope and that gave me life was taken away from me. So I didn't have anything. I felt like I didn't have anything to look forward to. Like, I didn't have anything to work towards. But I've come a long way, and I'm definitely a lot much better. The way I see things, I'm more hopeful. I'm determined to become somebody, a person who has a purpose, you know. In terms of faith, like, my faith was very much, this is the only year actually that I've actually decided and made it my New Year's resolution. I'm gonna pick up my Bible and I'm gonna read my Bible often. I bought myself my own Bible. I have my own Bible, which I feel like is an achievement because I've never had my own Bible before. I read my Bible and I'm building and strengthening my relationship with God. This is the only year. I'm 20 years old. It's 2025. This is the only year that I've decided to do that, and I'm going to continue deciding that for many more years to come, hopefully. So in terms of faith, like, I want to say my faith was non-existent. I've always believed in God, but it wasn't something that was like important to me, like a big deal to me until now. So that's all I have to say in regards to faith. I feel like I was still a kid, like most kids. Like, you can't, I feel like the way I look at things, let people find their way to Christ, find their way to their own faith. Don't ever force somebody to do something. My mom never forced religion down our necks. She never forced us to go to church, to read the Bible, to have Bible study. She never did any of that. The way my mom raised her kids, she allows us to do whatever we want to do, basically. Like, my mom doesn't, she never like forced us to do anything academically. She never forced us to do extracurricular activities. Everything that we wanted to do was because of our own will and want to do it. So, like, I'm glad that I can even sit here and be like, yeah, I read my Bible often, but not because I'm forced to do it, because I willingly choose to pick up my Bible and read my Bible. So, like, you know, like, we're not a heavily religious family. We don't go to church every Sunday. Like, me personally, I don't think your faith depends on going to church every Sunday anyway. So I'm like, if you want to stay at home and praise God from your bedroom, by all means, still do that. Like, it's not by force to me. All this stuff is not by force. When it comes to faith, it's not by force. As long as you want to do it and you feel like it's time, that's when you will be ready to do it. And this year was the year that I was ready to pick up my Bible and go from there onwards. So that's all I have to say in terms of like faith and religion. Yeah, I feel like that's really it. I'm just checking the time on my camera, but I feel like that's really it, to be honest. Like, that's really it. Like, I'm so mad that like there's stuff going on in my background because I woke up early to record this video, but like I'm like thinking and writing down things to say, and I don't want to say the wrong thing. I want there to be a layout, but it's taken me so long, especially because I like procrastinated making this video. Like, it took me so long to just sit down and actually record this video and be like, this is my story, basically. Like, and now there's people in the background because I took way too long, but it's fine. We're still gonna push through. We're still gonna keep on going. Yeah. Yeah, my next video is going to be about foster care and aftercare, and I will tell you what those things are in my next video if you don't know what they are. So yeah, like, I really hope you enjoyed this video. And guys, I'm looking for other people who have gone through the same things that I've gone through. I'm not just talking about black people, anybody at this point, white people, people of color, anybody who has lived and gone through foster care and, you know, things of that sort. Like, DM me. So yeah, stay tuned for more videos to come. I really hope you enjoyed this video. It is a tough video, so I wouldn't even be surprised if a lot of people don't manage to stay until the very end, but I encourage you to, and I encourage you to keep like staying in tune with what I have to say and looking out for any more videos that I have to come, because I still have lots of videos to come. Yeah, this is just part 1 and we have many more parts to come, so I guess I'll see you in the next video. Bye.